Hey everybody, better late than never. Good evening from whenever, wherever you may be watching, listening. This is The Yard Sign, the most important and relevant podcast in politics, the most diverse conservative podcast in politics. Your host, as always, Jonny Torres. Go Lightning, as these are the kind of sacrifices we make for you guys. You know, we could be at some sports bar having chicken wings and beer, or soda in my case, and watching the Tampa Bay Lightning take out my former team, the Florida Panthers, in the second round of the playoffs. But no, we're here to illuminate you with this week's news and current events. But we do it because we love it. And thank you so much for everybody who is watching, listening to the show. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the audio version of our show if you do miss the video version on Facebook and YouTube. You can do that on any of the social media podcast platforms, all the popular podcast platforms at the tech overlords at Google, Apple, Spotify, Audible, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Audible, Odyssey, Samsung podcast platforms. And then again, if you'd like the video version to see our beautiful faces, you can do that on Facebook and YouTube. We've got some familiar faces on the show tonight, so we'll start with we're doing the rundown of tonight's topics. Ron DeSantis, big winner once again, as he wins the map fight with the Supreme Court of Florida. We'll talk about why that is and how that affects the upcoming midterm elections, as we are quite literally now counting weeks to the primaries here in Florida. And speaking of primaries around the country have begun, and we've already got some winners and losers. And so we'll take a look at who exactly those are and how some of these endorsements played out across the country, and which one are the ones to watch for as we continue to see primaries, especially in some of these kind of reddish bluish states that have seen a lot of transition over the past number of cycles. Gas to the moon. Doesn't really, get more complicated than that. Gas prices continue to rise. The Biden administration continues to have a lack of solutions. And so we'll pick that apart as far as the ramifications of that for everyone involved. And that's you and I. And then formula for disaster. Again, families across the country struggling to find baby formula. I'll tell you, my daughter was one who was on baby formula. And really, I mean, this is a huge issue that the media is trying to ignore to favor the Biden administration. And of course, the Biden administration now is trying to pull out all the stops, even though they had months of advance notice, that this was coming. So we'll talk about why this formula for disaster continues and how it's going to affect the Biden administration going forward. That being said, now let's go ahead and introduce the gentleman who will be joining us on tonight's discourse over on the far right, Anibal David Cabrera.
One day that's going to get me in trouble.
I know.
Or is a blessing.
They'll be like, yeah, right. He's a right now.
He's a right now.
He's a right now.
Communist.
A right now. I like that. That was fun. Right now.
Right now. Communist. Really, we're recreating the
actual events.
The actual events
that we've experienced.
Literally us standing next to each other.
Yeah.
And me getting yelled
at.
He's
a mole. He's a Democrat mole.
I've never even dated a Democrat.
Well, I was called a Democrat mole, remember?
Oh, my God, that's right.
When we were in the Young Republicans.
Many, many moons ago.
Yeah, trying to run for state leadership. And
you got it. You got vice
I did, despite the fact that they called me a Democrat mole.
He's a right now.
He's a Democrat.
Right now.
He's trying to steal all of our juicy ideas.
There weren't any.
No, there was none to be had.
You came up with really good ideas, though.
Yeah. Did okay. All right.
You two want to sit next to each other? I mean, I can move over.
No, this is close enough.
Oh, I completely forgot. No, we don't sit close to each other at all. That's a purpose. There's a restraining order.
Yes, exactly. So joining us here as that's the top one there.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't it nice when we have multiple cameras? I mean, and got a nice studio to come to every week.
This is too much. This is too much.
I know. We're blessed and highly favored.
Highly favored.
I could have watched a hockey game with this.
We're literally about to put it on in the background.
Speaking of hockey pucks, No, I'm joking. We have
I've been called worse.
Hey, and in this town, that's a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Absolutely taking this one.
Yeah. So is our good friend Scott Levinson joining us here in the center seat. Scott running for Hillsborough County Commission District 1. Make sure you check out his website while we have him here on the show or after the show at votescottlevinson.com. Votelevinson.com. And there's is it votescottlevinson.com?
No, it's Vote Levinson without the C.
Yeah, I know. We'll get that fixed.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. So votelevinson.com and donate often. And
even more.
Let's jump into, because honestly it's actually been kind of cool to have you come not only at the beginning of your campaign, but you've now been here periodically throughout your campaign. We're coming in towards the end of the primary, but you don't have a primary opponent, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we still got to knock on wood for that.
That's not what
And I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you, but the original idea, the original concept of this program was actually to pull the curtain back on the electoral process, on the on what candidates, campaign consultants, fundraisers, what they all go through and how the whole process works. Because honestly, people have no clue. And so, for example, I know before the show we were talking about the challenges of fundraising, and so while people are frustrated because we have a very liberal county commission now, and we won't get into why that is, but because we've done that plenty, but we have a liberal city council. We have a liberal school board, all of which are looking to increase our taxes, increase our fees, increase our cost of living, when right now we're also going through some of the highest inflation in history. And so how's the message being received? I know you're adopting the No New Taxes platform. And then how is that, what would have been some of the challenges here as we kind of come down the final stretch for the primary?
Well, I don't know if I'm adopting the no new taxes. I've been pretty much firmly there for a long time.
Right.
I wish some of our other candidates and some of our other sitting Republicans in office would do the same. Mm-hmm. I think we need to say it loud and proud. We've got to stop sitting in the shadows and hoping that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, because I think the assumption is by the average voter is that, there's all these wealthy people that give tons of money to candidates and all these organizations that just throw money at campaigns. And I mean, that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Well, if they are,
I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen them. I mean, and okay, I'm going to break. Speaking of money, I'm going to break a mic here. But no, it doesn't. And it's a hard lesson to learn, and you learn along the way. Last time running, new kid on the block, and we raised $25,000, and we came within 1.4%.
And that is, as a novice, that is knowing zero on day one.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'm not the type that worries about what happened last time.
Right.
Spent a lot of years as a football coach. You go back to the locker room, you come up with a new game plan, and you go do it. The thing that is surprised me is still how hard it is to raise money.
Even without a primary.
Even without a primary, you need to prove you're viable.
Yeah.
We did that.
Sure. You literally came within, I think it was 1%, wasn't it?
1.4.
Yeah, 1.4%.
1.3, 1.4.
It's amazing.
198,000 votes. And
there were some people that were trying to push you to for a recount.
Oh yeah.
I just bring that up to give people an idea of how close you really came to winning.
Well, and we did, and it is interesting or surprising that it's still the same fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have politicians, and then you have people that care about their community that run for office. I am not the first. I'm the second. if you look at other candidates, money, there's no doubt politics are pay to play. And
there's a lot of ulterior motives.
There's tremendous. Yeah. And I am a very principled type of guy.
Yeah.
I will listen to anybody, but I don't believe in compromising your core beliefs or your core principles.
Because I'm guessing there's people out there already asking for favors, already lining up and saying, okay, well, if and when you get into office, will you do X, Y, Z?
Oh, I have had people point blank say to me, if I am going to donate to you, will you do this?
Mm-hmm. Right.
No.
Yeah.
And well, that could cost you the election. I would rather lose with integrity and honor than win. I don't know how to say this any other way than win being a scumbag.
Well, truth be told, I mean, we look at the fact that we have who's left? Ken Hagen on the county commission.
Ken is left. Stacy's termed out.
Stacy, right?
Yeah,
Stacy, right?
Two out of 5.
You know, but I think if you ask those Republicans like us who are involved in the process, you know, deeply involved in the process, and we kind of keep up to speed with this stuff more so than most, you would say that really there's only one Republican in the county commission. I mean, it's and even some of the ones that have exited, you know, I think would also fall into that category that we couldn't really even consider them Republican anymore because they were voting most often in favor with the Democrats. That were
how about let's not even worry. Well, you have to worry, but I don't even look at how they vote. I look at what they do and how they do it. And what I have learned is being as inexperienced as I am is people have their deals.
Yeah.
And whether they call themselves, I'm not big on Republican, Rhino, as you all were, you know, back and forth. You're a Democrat. But
you know, because now you've been to all these meetings, you know that that's very much the environment in some of these groups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. You have elected officials and I'm not the only candidate like this. There's other candidates out there that are very much stay to their beliefs and their core values. But you have even the elected officials sitting in office now, others running. You have big donors that you know are out there, but they are hesitant to donate if they do not believe you will sacrifice your principles to give them what they want.
Right. Because that's the thing. For example, and I'll use this as a very broad example, okay, that generally Republicans are against illegal immigration, correct?
I would hope.
Okay. So the problem becomes, and I learned this at Senator Rubio's office, is that you'll sit at the table with some of the most staunch Republicans that are out there, but if they are farmers and they are and their success is beholden to the just not even the corruption, but just the overall just mess that is our immigration system. You know, that's the one issue they're going to bend on. You know what I mean? Because again, their business is beholden, you know, to that one issue. It's and so they'll sometimes have to, you know, hire the very people that, again, in most times they wouldn't vote for that person if they told them that they were in favor of illegal immigration. And all that just to say that, you know, again, everybody I think has that one or two issues, you know, which is, again, I mean, you know, I'm a big tent Reagan kind of Republican, and I think there right now there's a mixture of people in the party. There are some that want to keep it nice and conservative and tight and, you know, and want this kind of purity filter. And then you have the big tent Republicans who are, you know, again, saying, okay, we may not agree on this issue, but we may agree on the other 8 or 9 issues out there.
And that's why I say you've always got to be willing to talk. You've always got to be willing to listen. But as far as if you look at a lot of the candidates and the donations and the fundraising out there, it you can see the candidates that are willing to maybe compromise their values.
Yeah. There's a pattern. You can
There's
definitely
a pattern.
see the pattern.
Follow, we didn't make up this term, follow the money.
Yeah.
There's a reason that it is.
Because when you look at the unfortunate problem that we have here, that you've got these county commissioners that have been there, at least 1 decade, closing in on 2 decades, that is a lot of power and a lot of money, to be on the precipice of, and not be willing to sacrifice your principles, for the opportunity at that money and that power.
Look at people that are running for office now on the Republican side. Mm-hmm. How many sitting elected, and I'm talking Hillsborough County, how many sitting elected Republicans right now have come out to back forget me, there's other Republican candidates. How many of them have come out and verbally and stood up and said, I support so-and-so?
Yeah.
They're the party leaders.
Right.
They are supposedly the leaders of the Hillsborough County Republican Party, or elected officials. That's who should be carrying the baton.
Sure.
Where are they?
Yeah.
That's my point.
And I want to get the show. I want to get the show started tonight. But I'll close the opening on this. And the root of what you just answered, the answer to that problem, is the fact that we have a weak Republican Party in Hillsborough County. And again, for those of you who may be watching and haven't kind of caught on, there is county chapters, there is the state chapter, and then there's the national chapter of the Republican Party. The county chapter is the one that is supposed to be the one that coalesces the power among the state legislature, among the county commissioners, among all the elected Republicans, and saying, okay, guys, we all need to get on the same page here and get behind these people that are running to help them win. The problem is that power, that influence is non-existent because no one respects the Hillsborough County Republican Party.
Well, yes. I mean, that is, you hear that all the time. But I think that's just the easy target. I think that's the easy target.
But it's also the easy excuse, for them to, not be involved.
Where are our current elected, like I said, where are our current elected Republican officials leading the party?
Because in the past, you would have those individuals get their feet to the fire by the county party. The county party had very well relationships with the elected state and county large Republicans.
I mean, they don't even come to the monthly meetings.
They don't come anymore. I remember when everyone used to come to the monthly meetings.
Yeah.
Because they had to show face, because that was the room that was putting their feet to the fire. There right now, besides the fact there's no Republicans, very little Republicans in the county-wide seats, there's no one there now to put them to make them accountable. When we have someone that no longer sits on county commission, and she is distinctively talking ill about other Republicans and probably pushing for people not to vote for Republicans in this coming cycle. And she was doing that before she was off county commission.
Right.
And there was no one to hold her accountable. And that's the problem that we have right now with the party in Hillsborough County.
When you have, and I don't care if they get involved or not, when you have, now you're talking about ex-elected officials.
But you and me both know it was even when she was still sitting.
Exactly.
She was causing problems.
And look, if you want...
But that was my point at the beginning of this, which was that they have completely lost touch with the people that put them there. Because they've been there for so long.
They want to protect their deals.
Of course.
Look, if a commissioner is leaving office, they want to make sure the person that comes in after them protects their deals.
Right.
Whether those deals are right or wrong, they want to protect them all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get somebody like me running for office who has the support of the people. That's not where our problem is, and that's not where a lot of other candidates' problem is.
Yeah.
It's where the support of those people.
Yep.
It's actually just the opposite. When you have ex-Republican commissioners wearing Democrat candidate paraphernalia, you got a problem.
Yeah.
And no one's calling them out on it. And because again,
what did I just do?
You are. But again,
and you know what, folks? It might cost me an election. I don't care.
I care.
It is well, I understand that.
Elected.
I understand that. But there comes a time in Hillsborough County where somebody's got to stand up and say enough is enough. And no more games, no more being afraid to call people what they are and call them by name who and what they are.
Yeah.
There comes a time where it's got to come to an end. And if that means me being the one to do that, and because of it, I don't win, then I sacrificed for the bigger picture. But enough's enough. We need to wake up in this county, because we can all want everything we want unless you get your officials elected, unless we elect our school board. Unless we get them elected, you can forget the school board. Right. Unless we get our Congress, going to state Congress, going up to Washington, county commissioners, all of our wants and desires are for naught.
Yeah.
You can put out any call for action you want. If you don't have the votes, it doesn't matter.
And we're seeing it now. All these people attending meetings, all these people attending events, and they only attend. They only go for happy hour. They're only there because it's popular to post on social media. And would you see them on Saturday morning? Yeah. No, I don't see them walking.
On that note, because again, we
gotta go on. We can go on this all night.
And you know, I'm gonna say this right now. I look super tan today. I don't know why. It's the first time I'm looking at myself.
I know. Haven't even hit doors lately.
Excuse me. You're right. And so this is a Disney tan, by the way.
Oh, there you go. That explains it. But actually,
if I raise this, you'll see the farmer tan.
When I ran for chairman of the Hillsborough County Republican Party, I actually had developed a point system. And basically through the point system, you would get points based on your activity aside from the meetings. So you had to do certain things to accumulate certain points, but that also included knocking doors, making phone calls, doing, again, supporting the campaigns, which is actually the function of the organization.
Which is so much fun when you have a group. Right. Yeah. When we ran organizations in the past, the most fun we ever had was organizing those events, having those people go out and walk, and having that kind of boots on the ground situation.
Again, no complaints about the people, no complaints about the clubs. No, the people in there are fired up. They're ready to go.
I have complaints.
They need our elected officials need to help the candidates.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And if they're
but again, there's nobody there urging them to is the problem. Again, there's no catalyst there. But all right, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic tonight. Again, Scott Levinson, Hillsborough County candidate, joining us tonight. VoteScottLevinson.com is his website. Again, we want to make sure that we thank the Community Patriots also for supporting our program. You can support them and check them out. They are a constitutionally based organization, big supporters of this show. You can check them out at community-patriots.com, community-patriots.com. If you are someone who maybe isn't comfortable with the Republican label and maybe don't want to join let's say, a straight out kind of partisan organization, check out Community Patriots. They're an amazing organization doing both work politically and in the community to kind of raise all boats. And so check them out. And again, thanks to Jeff and Kim for making their support happen here at the yard sign.
Good group.
We're going into the first topic of the night, which is DeSantis pulling out a big win as he had a little map fight lined up for him, and more so up in the northeastern part of southern Georgia, or as we like to call it, Jacksonville. And there had been a challenge by one of the state Supreme Court justices saying that it didn't meet the requirements. An appeal was filed. And again, this is where we forget that how great really an attorney Ron DeSantis was. He was a JAG officer. He's an Ivy League grad. Which again, people tend to forget, and pulls out a win here on the appeal of the congressional maps. And so it looks like he's going to get his way here in Florida once again. And really, I think codifying now Florida as I think at the end of this cycle, I think we'll be able to codify the fact that Florida is a Republican state.
I think that's a good point. As of about 42 minutes ago, there has been another filing against his map, and that has been brought up to this appeals court.
Yeah.
So it's no longer Supreme Court that dictated.
Okay.
So the win that he got last week was the Supreme Court going with his map.
Right.
And now what we're having is challenges from voter advocacy groups that are saying that they are challenging the maps that the Supreme Court are about to codify. So we're in that again. I don't think the appeals court is going to override the Supreme Court of Florida, but we're going to see what happens. But I agree with you. I think when he gets this win, this literally solidifies Florida as a red state.
Well, the other thing too is that again, I mean, he wanted to do this, and I genuinely believe that, yes, obviously, where there's some political advantages that he was trying to work into the map overall.
Of course.
To give Republicans that advantage, absolutely. But the other thing that he did want to do is to kind of minimize, which I think he accomplished very well, in a lot of these crazy, ridiculous districts that had, that looked like spiders, and they were just splintered all over the state. They were absurd. I mean, it was just, and I think he did a great job of cleaning that up. And then again, still accomplishing, his role really as the Republican governor to, try to put us in the best position to win elections going forward, but at the same time make the maps equally representative. And so, we'll see how it continues to pan out. But like you said, Anibal, I think the appeals court doesn't challenge him on this one. I think we move forward, hopefully. I
think Jacksonville is upset that they're going to. The Democrats are extremely upset because this literally takes away one of their D votes in regards to, I think, District 3 is what's going on there. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the court system. But I would say most definitely the governor is going to win in this situation. And I agree with him in his positioning. Florida has...
Well, that's the part of the state that he knows best.
And that's what we're
that's where he came from.
And that's what we really want to talk about. Florida has multiple examples of majority districts that are electing minorities and majority, and I'm going to say the word Caucasian districts electing minorities. And so you no longer have that situation where there's a flat example of how white Caucasian majority districts are not voting for their minority counterparts. Like that, you can see that. Mm-hmm. You see it in Naples, you see it in Miami, you see a lot of it happening around the county, around the state. And because of that, you can no longer argue the fact that you have to have minority majority districts. That doesn't make any sense as representation because you have that with other districts now representing that.
One of the things that we've also been talking a lot, Scott, has been in really just to kind of tie it a little bit, to what's happening locally is the districts and how they fall here in Hillsborough County. Do you foresee the need for some dramatic kind of line changes here, given the growth of southeastern Hillsborough County?
We got a big county.
It's massive.
We got a big county.
I mean, all these problem areas.
The big question, did we go from 7 to 9 commissioners? Yeah. And I think if they really wanted to split it up in 7, you've got your at-larges.
Yeah.
Do you need the at-larges?
No, I'm definitely in favor of not. I
don't believe you do. Maybe you consider looking at the at-larges and splitting and really having 7 districts.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see us going from 3 at-large to 2 at-large. I could see that. And breaking down South Tampa, because it needs to have its South County into 2 separate counties, into 2 separate seats. Like the county, honestly, you can even say it from where 75 is. Whatever is east and west of 75, those are 2 completely different.
South of I-4 and east of... Yeah. I
can tell you right now, people of Apollo Beach don't have anything in the same when it comes to Riverview. Those are just 2 completely different communities.
Or even Waimama, obviously.
And Waimama. Yeah. And that's a whole other conversation. Right. You have some of those rural parts. That Waimama makes more sense with Plant City than it makes sense with Apollo Beach. That's facts.
Right.
And so when you saw the district lines, and we talked about this at the log cabin meeting, where you saw some districts, like I don't understand how how on earth they were able to get away with splitting West Chase into two. That's insane.
Yeah.
How is West Chase in District 1 and in District 2? Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That needs
right
to be
at the line ball line.
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. And
it
so
really doesn't.
that kind of like purpose, like they keep Carroll together.
Yeah.
They keep North Tampa together,
Right.
but they can't keep West Chase together. Again, there's enough room for everyone to be able to go around.
Yeah. So, well, again, congratulations to Governor DeSantis on that. But again, all this really kind of leading up to the Florida primary here, as it's funny because somebody brought to our attention in the Facebook group that they're like, oh, there's this Kevin Hazlett guy who is apparently running in CD13. And yeah, there is. He's an attorney. Apparently he's been in the race since January. He's raised some money. Don't know if he's raised a lot of money since then, but he opened up with a decent amount of money. Given an attorney, probably, a lot of ties to the legal community. But we're looking at, again, what kind of a mess this is kind of created, this redistricting this go round, because we have people in races that they really shouldn't be. And, at least, it's just not the right fit. We've talked about that.
We've talked about 15, 14, and 13 have officially solidified in our district. 16 is a whole nother conversation. And that's just roll 16. 13 makes a lot of sense for a lot of people that are in there. Christine Quinn, I love you to death, but I don't think that's a race for you. Honestly, there's too many people in District 13, and now there are too many people in District 15. Like, who was the last one that jumped in 15?
Kelly Stargell.
Yeah, Secretary of State. Yeah. My goodness.
No, that's Lee, Janet Lee. I was saying
Tom Lee's wife.
Yeah.
I don't think she has the same last name. I don't know about that.
Yeah, she does.
Okay. Anyways, so that's gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah.
So she jumps into that race come last week. Now it's a horse race, because now you have her and you have Dennis Ross, who are now, I would say, considered the top of that echelon when it comes to those people that are in District 15 that know those individuals very well. They're very much in the community. Dennis Ross never really left that community. He's always been a part of it. And then you have Jackie Toledo, who is from South Tampa, who represented South Tampa moving up to the sticks. And you have Jay Collins, that was saying that he was going to die and work and fight for District 14, now moving to 15. And I'm telling y'all, I just don't see it where this is going to end well for a lot of people, because it's too many people in that seat now. And I think you're going to see a split of, you can get all the money you want. You're not convincing anyone in Plant City if you haven't been to Plant City.
By the way, now it's Laurel. It was Laurel Lee. Yeah. And so apologies to the former secretary, but she is going to be jumping in that race, which now makes it a 4-wide race. I mean, it's almost looking as ridiculous as CD13. But you've got some heavy hitters. You've got Dennis Ross. You've got Kelly Stargell, who, again, very powerful in Polk County.
District, yes.
That pulls a lot. And I wonder how much of it had to do with, as we talked about, the district being split between Hillsborough County and Polk County. Because Dennis Ross, Kelly Stargell, very powerful in Polk County. But then on the Hillsborough County side, again, now we have former Secretary of State Laurel Lee, who married to former State Senator Tom Lee. Very powerful couple there.
Yes.
They're going to have no problem raising money. And now you have Laurel going up against Jackie Toledo, which, again, not really the right district for her, although she is a great fundraiser.
She's a great fundraiser.
It's going to be interesting to see if that's going to translate into that district.
She's a great fundraiser, and she does great retail politics. I don't know how that translates up there.
To East County.
East County. Also, and we've had this conversation before, Polk County has pulled more in the last 2 cycles than Hillsborough. And so because of that conversation, and because how weak Hillsborough County has become, you cannot guarantee that Hillsborough County is going to pull you out at the end.
What I'm grateful for is the fact that despite how weak the county party is, the fact that we have strong candidates.
Correct.
Because we could be in a situation where we have neither. I mean, we could have a weak party and weak candidates and really, just be giving up seats left and right. But somehow we continue. And honestly, I'll give credit to some of the consultants out there, because they do their fair share of going out there and looking for people that they think would make for great candidates. And then also, kudos to, guys like our friend Scott, who know the community, have served the community and see that calling. The problem is that every once in a while you also get people that jump in the race that have no business being in the race because they don't know the political process. They don't know the community. They want to do something, which, I mean, God bless them, but they don't really jump in really kind of knowing what they're getting themselves into. But that race now going 4 wide, I mean, is really interesting.
There's one other gentleman in that race as well. I met him at the North Hillsborough County event. He was a pilot. I cannot remember his name. Anyway, I do know that his
for 15.
Okay. I do know that the individual that's helping him out in that race used to be the chair of Polk County when it came to their REC. So he does have some influence.
Well, you're going to have, I mean, and no offense, I mean, look, and obviously if you want to hit me up and chew me out for, like just discounting you, I mean, hey, I get it, but let's be realistic.
Yes,
I mean,
guys.
We've been through this long enough to understand that you've got your top tier and then you've got your second tier candidates. Every race has them. CD13, I'm sure, is far wider than the 4 or 5 that are out there right now. There are some second tier candidates in there that don't have a chance, but they like seeing their name on the ballot, and so they continue to, consider themselves a candidate in a race that they have no chance of winning.
We have all talked about this before, that they are in the. They could probably get a county commission. They could probably do city council. There's a bunch of things that people should be running for, and they think. And again, I'm not saying this is the reason why they're doing it, but just they want. We know candidates that are in races because they want their name on the ballot.
Right.
We know people that are like that. Do I think they're all like that? No. But you're right. And we are going to see the cream of the crop is going to rise, and we're going to have that issue.
And I get the appeal of DC.
I don't.
I mean, in general, it's like Hollywood, right? It's just like the thought of reaching that level of power and that being in those halls and being, it's there's an allure there. I mean, again, it's not for everybody, but I mean, that's why these guys do it.
But don't you take offense for people that candidates that think that they can go automatically to the Congress or to the Senate without ever even being recognizable to the general population?
Mind you, I'd rather take my 6-figure paycheck here at home, and serve Hillsborough County, and live in sunshine, 300 days of the year.
I mean, I would love for someone that we know to run for city county commission
rather than having to go into DC and put up with all that nonsense.
Could you imagine Scott in DC?
No.
Scott, I thought you were using county commission as a stepping stone.
The Hillsborough County is my home.
A stepping stone out of his house.
Hillsborough County is my home. I've lived in District 1 my whole life, and that's where my heart is.
Well, and again, that's why when these guys say, "Oh, well, I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact," this and that. You have more power, more leverage at the local level than you will ever have.
Much more power
than you will ever have. And I mean, heck, even the president will tell you, because every president says it once they left office, that you actually have more power out of the office than you do in the office.
Yes, and I love having. When I was growing up, I knew my county commissioners, I knew my city council members, and you looked up to them because you really did see where people and the voice and the power came from. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that is what touches you the first time. Those people in that group can levy taxes. I mean, we're seeing this again happen.
Where did they touch you?
I bring the HR bear, and I'll have this conversation later.
Sorry, it was too easy.
It was a layup. I'll give you a layup. You know what?
Wow.
This is the reason why we can't have nice things. Man. We have a good audience running. It's plus there's a bunch of people watching, and then this happens. And you know what? I'm offended. As the brown person on this dais, I have a problem with this. I'm very offended.
No, you're not.
No, not at all.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for watching The Yard Sign, the most important and relevant podcast in politics. Jonny Torres, Anibal, David Cabrera, Scott Levinson. Make sure you check him out. VoteScottLevinson.com and donate. Please. Every dollar helps.
Did you mention donate?
I'll try.
Okay,
I'll see if I can squeeze
We have
it in
signs
there.
that say donate.
Actually, I have one of your yard signs that I got at the that cool event we had at the barbecue place, and I've been meaning to bring it in because what I want to do is I want to decorate that wall with all the yard signs.
If you were really there for me, Johnny, you tattoo it on your forehead.
Whoa. First of all, Jonathan is going to get buried with his family, so he's not getting a tattoo. And second of all, you're going to cover this
there
wall.
we go.
So my wall, you're going to cover my wall with these things?
Yes.
We can't get rid of the picture behind me of Tampa.
Why?
Because we already have a video of the city.
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh wait, look at it. There's the city.
You're
I
right.
don't have enough.
There
I
you
don't
go.
have enough yard
not-
signs for the wall yet.
We're not doing that, Scott.
All right.
Stop touching yourself.
There you go with the skyline, buddy.
Yeah.
You happy?
By the way, again, if regardless of whether you want to get involved with a candidate or a campaign, every little bit helps. If you can knock doors, make phone calls, or maybe collect some checks, get involved, folks. And one of the ways you can do that is with our friends at Community Patriots. Visit community-patriots.com. That's community-patriots.com. Getting better.
Good.
And they have meetings both in Hillsborough and Pinellas County. But if you are outside of our Tampa Bay region, go Lightning. Be sure to reach out to them about starting your own chapter. Let's go into gas to the moon.
We're already there. Where are you skipping around?
What's that? We did the primary results.
No, you didn't.
Oh, that's because we started talking about. Well, we were talking about the maps, and then we were talking about the primary results.
Quick review of
so let's talk about the results and where they're at.
Okay. Let me get my.
Jesus.
For your non-boxing fans, I feel like Mills Lane right now. Between you two.
Let's get it on.
Can I have my moment?
Just read the numbers.
I'm waiting for the camera.
You don't need to be like Vanna White about the whole thing.
Oh, you have no idea. Wait, where is it?
There you go. Graphic and everything.
Okay. This past week, primary cycle touched on a lot of different states coming on board. At the moment, we wanted to see what the percentage was in regards to win or loss in regards to Trump's endorsements. So as of last week, the win or loss is actually 96% winning on Trump's endorsements. There were a lot of gubernatorial races. There are currently 16 that he has endorsed. There were 4 of those this last Tuesday, 2 and 2. So he lost 2 and gained 2. The other ones, when it came to the Senate, he has 18 endorsements. He won 4 of them, and 1 of them dropped out. So of that, he swept his endorsements for the Senate. And in the House races, he's endorsed 111 candidates. 58 of them won their seats, won their primaries, with one of them being a loss and the other one dropping out. And we all know which one of those House races lost. Johnny, do you remember?
No.
Yes, you do.
Madison Cawthorn.
There we go. The young, bright, rising star is becoming.
Hold on. Rising is offensive. The man is in a wheelchair, okay?
I was
that is
going
highly
to
offensive.
say that he had become our generation's Icarus and just flew way too close to the sun. But I have no idea how to save this one. just digging with his hands.
Oh, man. No, look, I'll say this. I don't think he's done. He'll be back. No.
I am offended.
He'll be back in some capacity.
Did he post?
Scott's speechless over here.
It's safe. It's safe.
Woo!
The water's hot. The water's hot.
I cannot believe you went there. It's a phrase. It's not a.
He's one of Trump's losses, unfortunately.
The only loss as of.
I think there was Pennsylvania.
No, Pennsylvania.
Oh wait, no, Oz is winning.
No.
That's still in a toss-up.
The reason why
we're not
it's in a
there
toss-up.
yet. Right.
Okay, so currently, the reason why it's 4 wins in the Senate, 1 dropout, and no losses is because they're all still pending.
Right.
The other ones that are going out there.
Pennsylvania's in a toss-up, which was Dr. Oz.
At the moment, Dr. Oz is over 1,000 votes in his way.
Yeah.
There is still.
Look, the Republicans would be stupid not to vote for Dr. Oz. He can win a general. I mean, again, he's another one where people are like calling him a rhino and this and that because he's been in liberal Hollywood. Well, guess what? So was Andrew Breitbart.
So was Trump.
It's like, right, exactly. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation, okay? Because, the Crystal Sager actually did a great, just piecemeal of, everything that Republicans have looked past, in regards to Donald Trump. And look, I voted for the guy, but I still see him for what he is.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, again, let's be flexible here. We have to understand that, again, Pennsylvania is not Florida. Pennsylvania is not Texas. I mean, Republicans are not built the same all across the country. And you have to be flexible in some areas to win these big elections.
So if you give me 2 seconds, I'll let you know what he lost by, but I think it's by less than
Who, Oz?
No, Madison.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was less than 1,000 votes. And again, at the end of the day, he did embarrass his district and his constituents. So I'm not surprised that they got so upset with him for what he did. But I mean, he's also under 30. Like, what is it, 25, 26?
They lose by 2 feet.
Jesus.
Yep, this show is definitely
1,319 votes.
Yeah, this show's putting me over the top, guys.
But unfortunately, I think he does a huge disservice to young Republicans at large because, again, he really was a great embodiment of what a young Republican candidate should have been up until the point where he started, I don't know.
Trash.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand what his deal was. I mean, maybe he just got wrapped up in all the hype.
He thought he was and again, he is in a very red district.
But I heard that part of what started rubbing people the wrong way is that he said he was going to switch districts and then he didn't.
Really?
Yeah, because they had their redistricting, and he was going to switch districts, decided not to, and then stayed in what was already a crowded field. Because again, that field got crowded because they all thought he was going to leave. Again, the right thing for him to do was to have gone and just kind of, because nobody was going to challenge him.
He was 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. He was one of 9 candidates. My God.
Yeah.
In that race, I can see exactly where. I mean, you look at it. There's easily enough votes that he could have taken over, cannibalized, if there weren't so many people still in that race.
And so, look, I think he'll be back. He'll be back in some capacity.
I think he will be back as well. I don't.
Yeah.
And again, I know.
He'll end up on Newsmax or something.
Someone made a comment that he did a very cryptic tweet, and I'm not on Twitter, so I have no idea.
What'd you call him?
Cryptic.
Oh my God, Anibal.
I did not call him that. I said it was a very very interesting tweet. I don't know what other word to use for cryptic.
He's too young. He's he looks the part. I mean, he has all the right pieces together. He just needs to grow up.
This is where the disclaimer comes in. The comments made by the show host do not necessarily reflect those of the candidate running for office.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. You all right?
Oh my God!
This is better than the
You're just setting me up, Anibal. I mean, it's not my fault.
Softball.
I mean,
This is softball.
better.
not even. It's like T-ball. He just puts it right there in front of me. I mean, what do I have to do? I mean, it's my job.
You just have to get up.
And they said the circus was over.
Oh man!
We are all members of the Republican Party.
But see,
all done our parts.
The media would have you believe that Trump's endorsements are toxic and that he's
and they're not.
and yes, they are not. Now what is interesting, because actually we had it here on the TV right before the show started, is what's going to happen in Georgia, because Trump is not backing current governor Brian Kemp. He's actually working quite hard against him. And just before we got here, there was a rally in Georgia, and guess who was headlining the rally on stage supporting Brian Kemp? Mike Pence. Mm-hmm. That's right, Vice President Mike Pence. So that dynamic there is going to be.
David Perdue is running for governor, right?
I think so.
Yes, he's running for governor, and their primaries are.
Because Perdue was in Congress, right? Wasn't he?
Their primaries are tomorrow.
Yeah. So again, this rally had Pence on stage, doing the big rah rah for Brian Kemp. Meanwhile, Trump again. I mean, and this is where people start to kind of peel back the onions and see the true kind of politics of it all. It's like there's no love lost there. I mean, let's call it for what it is. Pence and Trump were not buddies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they ever were.
I think they were. I think Pence thought he could move the needle when it comes to Trump, and Trump just didn't care.
Well, Pence just gave Trump political credibility.
Yes, But Pence is a good enough guy that he probably thought he could change Trump, which we all know in any relationship, you cannot change your partner.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean,
I have found not saying anything tonight is just saying a lot. We'll just.
So now what?
So how's Robin?
Who do you got?
She is wonderful.
Wonderful. She's an amazing woman.
She is.
She's an amazing woman.
All right.
Absolutely.
I can hear another coach bag on its way.
What do you? So who do you have there? What do you think? Purdue? You think Purdue?
So this is my thing.
I think Kemp wins it.
I will have to agree with you because when it comes to
He has incumbency.
when it comes to the governorships,
Yeah.
that's a very difficult poll to figure out because it's more grassroots than anything else. You can cherry pick Senate, you can cherry pick the House, but when it comes to gubernatorial, I think it's a lot more grassroots than people could give it credit for. And I think Trump doesn't have the pulse when it comes to the governorships yet.
Yeah.
He has it on the congressional and for the Senate. He doesn't have it for the governorship. So again, he of the 4 that were decided last Tuesday, 2 were for him and 2 were against him that he lost. So right there, it's a 50-50 swing that he has. Now, again, his endorsements in the Senate and in the House are spot on.
Yeah.
100% for the Senate and like 97% for the House.
That's crazy.
But he's 50-50 in the gubernatorial. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, we do have amazing numbers over at the audio version of our podcast. Must say something about our faces for radio. You can subscribe there over at the Tech Overlords at Google, Apple, Spotify, Audible, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, and Samsung podcast platforms, or even, I'm sure there's some other ones we might have missed out there. But pick your favorite podcast platform and then search for the yard sign. You can subscribe to us, and please, if you have a moment, just leave us a review. Good or bad. I mean, I'd rather you leave a review than not leave a review at all, because that absolutely does help us, and is actually one of the reasons why we are currently rated among one of the top 150 podcasts in the country.
Jonathan Torres, I have an announcement to make.
Oh, excuse me. Yes.
Announcement. For
Red Alert? Do we need to bring out the Red Alert banner?
Do you have a Red Alert banner?
No, we should totally get one.
We should totally when we're doing this live.
I'm gonna work on that.
The Lightning is up by 1.
Oh, thanks.
They scored.
Yeah,
it's good.
Appreciate that.
Good times. So
we're doing ASMR now. Is that what we're doing?
Well, I didn't realize we moved to the sports zone. That's usually on Sundays.
Well, we're trying to get you to pipe in somehow.
Look, you two are doing a wonderful job. I have no idea what you're saying, but I am all for it.
Speaking of the sports, you gave us, and I'm not gonna give you I'm not gonna totally call you out, but you gave us a little nugget of a prediction that unfortunately did not come true, about who was going to replace Tom Brady before Tom Brady decided to come back. So obviously,
I still would not.
You're still holding out on that?
I will not rule out him being part of this team.
Really?
But again, that you got to give me a little bit because that was before Tom Brady came back. But I would not rule that out.
Okay.
We're doing a brief. Is this where I'm supposed to plug? 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Do it. Absolutely. Why
11
not?
11 a.m. on 860 a.m. and 93.7 is the Sports Zone, where we talk about sports, and we also mix in a little bit of how sports affects politics and politics affects sports, and it is much more than people realize.
You guys, given that, of course, we just had the big race, the F1 race down in Miami. Do you guys cover that at all or no? Do you touch on F1?
Look, I'm much better with Formula One than I am. If you want to really get me into NASCAR, take a right turn every so often.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I love IndyCar, especially given that they the Grand Prix here in St. Petersburg is amazing.
Phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
And I'll tell you what, you can put in all the fake yacht rows in Miami you want. It still doesn't compare to the Grand Prix here in St. Petersburg.
I didn't like it. I was looking at the map and the pictures and everything else. I'm like, I'm not crazy about this course.
It hurt your ears, didn't it?
Yes, it caused too many problems.
And it's in the middle of nowhere. Well, not the middle of nowhere. Look, I'm from there, and I worked at that stadium for 5 years. Okay, it is literally in the middle of the county where there is no water. There is nothing appealing about that area. You're lucky. The only lucky thing that they have there is that the Hard Rock in Hollywood is like 15 minutes away. Everything else around there is terrible.
But then that tells you how far away from the center of Miami really is.
Oh no, it's
so
30 minutes.
Away. It's
30,
so
40.
And if they were to figure out a way to incorporate that part of downtown Miami,
why? That's what I don't understand. Why didn't they have it downtown? Now I get it. Now I'm guessing that the people who own the stadium, because they've now brought in one of the major tennis tournaments to the stadium as well, they pulled that out of Key Biscayne of all places.
Yeah. You've also got to look, and this is probably
now we're in a sports show.
No, but it's more on the technical end. Can they do it in the streets of downtown?
Oh yeah, if they can do it if they can do it in Monte Carlo, they can do it. Yeah.
No, I'm saying,
St. Pete,
are they physically? Are those cars? Is the streets?
Yes.
Yeah, are they good enough to?
Right.
Yeah, no, because look, they were complaining that even this is a brand new course, literally built for them, and they were complaining that it was bumpy. That it wasn't up to par.
Well, thank you for joining our segment of the Sports Zone show here.
Right.
Thank you for the plug.
Oh, man. But, I actually love the fact that you do a sports show. And so I definitely encourage people to look up the Sports Zone. And,
it's very community-based, too.
Yeah.
And we love it. And the guest and everything, it's like this. It's community based. It's
I already told you. Once the World Cup comes around, I'm gonna jump on. I'm gonna come out and join you.
Even though soccer's a communist sport, you're welcome.
You have ties. What the hell is that?
Yeah,
I can't. I cannot.
We have ties in hockey.
Yeah, but you don't end the game in 0-0.
Oh,
that's completely possible in soccer.
Yeah.
Are you okay now?
No, I'm not. It frustrates me to all given hell.
Well, speaking of frustrating, how about those gas prices?
Hey,
let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. And thanks to Anibal David Cabrera and Scott Levinson for joining us. Gas to the moon. I'll tell you what, I recently switched my car over to a Mini Cooper, not foreseeing what was coming. And man, regardless, today I put $60 in a Mini Cooper.
You're putting more gas than we are in ours.
Well, I have to put premium in it.
Oh.
Because it's made by BMW, and so you got to put premium in it.
Have you changed the?
Now I do get 30 miles a gallon, which is great.
Have you changed the Union Jacks to an American flag?
Not yet, but But I found out that I could. I didn't think I could.
All knew you could.
Well, I didn't know you could. I thought it was painted on there.
It doesn't matter if it's painted on there or not. You still can change it. Jesus, you're South American. You guys change everything when it comes to cars. So just as bad as Puerto Ricans.
At least I don't have it hanging from my windshield.
Again, the comments of the host are not necessarily those of the candidate.
Oh.
I'm going to leave that one right there, Jonathan Torres.
Gas.
I will see you at church on Sunday.
Guys, gas is... and the trickle down is amazing. I am in the food industry, own a food distributor, and the amount of money that we are spending on fuel right now is people are asking, why are food prices going up? Why is everything so expensive? You've got to transport this stuff. It doesn't just fly on a magic carpet. And if we are looking at $5 to $6 average gas prices, what is that going to do to transporting all of the goods and services around this country?
Well, it's all just piling on at this point because gas, aside from the gas prices, continually just multiplying essentially. So are food prices. As you know, it's
all. But he's saying that it's all correlated, which is correct.
Right.
If it costs me X amount to ship and then transport that food to the restaurant, someone's going to have to pay for it.
If I'm paying $2 a gallon for gas and I'm selling you roast beef at $4 a pound, and now I'm paying $5 a gallon for gas, how can I sell you the roast beef for $4 a pound?
Right.
Eggs. I look back eggs. Everyone,
but it's not even just gas related, which was my point. Is we still are having our supply chain issues.
You are, but a lot of that is because of the gas. Okay. You think of a freight forwarder. Mm-hmm. Think of these ships, these container ships coming across sea.
Yeah.
Diesel is out of bounds right now. Mm-hmm. So if you are charging someone $3,000 to ship a 40-foot container, but now your diesel is tripled, you can't charge them $3,000 anymore. Can they afford to ship anymore? Mm-hmm. Or does the business just say, bye-bye? You have to be able to ship at an affordable price. Eggs. I was selling 30 dozen eggs. No one thinks eggs. Every restaurant in the world sells eggs.
But that's where you feel it the least, the staples, but it hits you the hardest.
I was selling 30 dozen eggs 2 months ago for $38 a case, 30 dozen eggs. Today, they are over $70.
Oh, my God.
Okay? How?
I know chicken has also gone off the roof.
I was selling boneless, skinless chicken breast at $2.19.
Yeah.
Now to buy it wholesale, 5,000 pounds, costs me $3.60.
Wow.
And people are saying there's price gouging, there's this, that. Look at the extreme money that's being made. What people don't understand is the fuel companies, things like that. When the pandemic was going on, people built up inventories. Mm-hmm. So right now, where you're seeing these huge corporate earnings is because people had cheap inventory on hand.
Yep.
2 quarters from now, I want you to look,
a different world.
And you're going to see a different world where everyone's saying they're price gouging. It's not real. It's very real, and everything starts with fuel. Now, they're going to say, well, if we were using electric, if everything goes electric, you still need fossil fuels to do what?
Yeah.
Power to charge the electric.
Right.
Oh, no, we can do it with solar. Yeah, okay.
No, and again, the reliability just isn't there. I mean, I still think they're at like a 30% reliability.
Yeah. So we had this larger conversation in the past, and now Sagar actually had it on Burning Point. Burning Point? Turning Point? What is it?
Breaking Point.
Breaking Point. Talking about the issue with we are just not there yet when it comes to the technology, when it comes to renewables. The battery lives are not there. The solar's not there. The wind's not there. The fact that nuclear is not even on the table is a big problem.
Again, why? And hopefully maybe it'll take another President Trump.
And it will. And so this is what I'm getting to. President Biden is in Japan right now. Hasn't made it to Ukraine yet, but he's in Japan at the moment. And what he said was
still waiting on directions.
Exactly. What he said in Japan was so out of touch. I'm surprised not more people are talking about this. And he says this in regards to the high prices of gas. When it comes to gas prices, we're going through an incredible transformation that is taking place right now. God willing, when it's over, we will be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when it gets over. They are perfectly fine with high gas prices.
Well, because it feeds their agenda.
They are perfectly fine allowing the lower and medium classes in this country to suffer because of this. This right now has cost Americans in 2021 $4,200 already this year in gas prices. Yeah. That's your stimulus. That was your stimulus right there.
Right.
That you've paid in gas and that you're paying in rent and you're paying in food and you're paying in transportation. And if you don't think people are going to be not going to be pissed in November when we get Q2 of and we start entering into a recession, it's going to hit the fan in a way that I don't think Democrats understand. That even if the Roe versus Wade thing wasn't an issue or became an issue, I don't think that matters because people are still going to vote based on their pocketbooks.
Not only that, but you go and you buy let's say a Ford 150. Okay, a gas Ford 150. Now they're coming out with the electric. And everyone wants to push to electric. That's great, but do you understand how much more that costs you than buying a gas engine?
Well, and not even that. I mean, the irony is, because I want the Cybertruck. Right?
So do I.
Like, I'm literally on the waiting list. The funny thing is that anyone who tries to fool themselves into thinking that it's an environmentally friendly alternative is literally fooling themselves. Now, what is ironic is that in Texas, and even in some places in California, they're actually asking people to moderate their charging of their electric vehicles because the grids can't handle it. And
we're going to run into the same problem. We're running into the same problem.
Where do we dispose the batteries?
Oh, it's a messy.
That's going to be a whole nother
messy.
But again, that's the fallacy.
That's my point.
The fallacy, even with the wind turbines. I mean, again, they talk about the that they have to change these wind, the blades out every so often, and the disposal of that. There's no easy way to dispose of that. So what are they doing? They're literally digging holes in the ground and sticking them under the ground.
No, the reason why was that we haven't built a oil refinery plant to create gasoline since like the 60s, and the reason why we're not building them is because we don't want to be charged with the environmental protection acts against it.
Right.
And so when one of the biggest in the country burnt down in, I think, the Northeast in like 3 years ago, they haven't rebuilt it. And the reason why is because they feel that it's more economic. It's for them, it looks better if we refine that oil in Mexico or in Canada or some other country and then bring it here. Right. And that's causing a huge issue because for you to have oil delivered to the United States, it has to be transported on an American vessel,
right?
Which is a bigger issue than everyone's realizing.
We talk about common sense, and we or our governments have a problem with making everything seem so difficult. I look at what's simple. If you have a pipeline with oil flowing through it, oil goes from Canada down to the Gulf Coast to be taken care of.
And that was the environmentally friendly solution.
But they don't buy that because that's going to lead to pollution. It could lead to... So what we have done now is we are going to load this oil up on trains and tankers.
Right.
And we are going to drive it. What are we using? Gas.
Right.
What are we transmitting? More what
carbon
they are
emissions,
claiming that they are trying to prevent.
Yeah.
So everyone says...
But that's why they're... And sorry to cut you off, but that's, again, this is all part of their agenda. They don't care.
Correct.
They don't want to solve this problem.
No.
They don't want to reduce gas prices because they want to force people out there. Again, we see people doing it here at the city level. They want people to go out there and ride their stupid bikes to work. And guess what? It's Florida. Nobody wants to ride a bike in 100 degrees.
It's so frustrating talking to people from the city and trying to get them to understand that people don't care. People don't care. I got into a huge argument with someone in the city because I made a comment about the beautification and ridership equality, whatever, of Florida, of MLK from Nebraska to Armenia. And I told them it doesn't make sense for you to reduce from 2 lanes going in each direction to 1 lane when the majority of that is nothing but businesses. It's not residential. There's no residential when it comes to everything past the bridge going towards the stadium.
Right.
And you would have thought I would have kicked her baby in the face. That's how upset she was. And I was like, why are you yelling at me? I'm telling you, I drive this every single day. And if you're really adamant about pedestrians, you don't do that going east and west. You might do that going north and south in one of the neighborhoods, not in one of the vital arteries of black and brown people trying to get into the medical district of Tampa.
Yeah. And again, explain. We're looking at and we're talking about gas prices right now, but we've got gas prices going up. We've got food costs going up. We've got everything going up. Inflation's going up. Remember, though, when they give you that 8.5% inflation, they're not including what in that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuel
right.
and housing.
Yeah, somebody said I think it's closer to 30%.
Well,
no, it's
I think it's in the high teens.
Yeah, me too.
But
this isn't Argentina.
Averaged out.
This isn't Argentina. Calm down.
But they don't include that. But so locally here, we're looking at gas prices. Housing is off the charts.
There we're at about 25%.
All right.
Yeah.
We're looking at food costs. We're looking at the staples, everyday things going through the roof. So what do the intelligent leadership right now, being to the left in Hillsborough County, do? Everything's going up. So what we really want to do is reward you all and put more taxes.
Right.
So we're going to put a millage on schools. By the way, people, millage is another word for
tax.
Thank you.
Right.
So they also snuck in that gas 5 cents. So our infinite wisdom.
Well, and then they wonder why the state legislature is coming in and overstepping their boundaries and preventing them from doing that. It was like, well, if you guys were actually fiduciary, in your roles, into protecting the taxpayer, then maybe there wouldn't be a need for the state legislature to kind of overstep their role and tell you when you can and can't raise taxes.
Yes. Who really intelligent? And we all, you go to your corners, come out fighting, all that, but intelligently thinking. Is now, or may there ever be, but right now, and it's only going to get worse, is now really a time to put new taxes out there?
Right.
We can't afford what we have, folks. Yeah. And
well, but again, they all have their pet projects that they want to fund.
Bingo.
They want to give their $25 million to the Strass Center. They want to give their other millions of dollars, to the Tampa Museum of Art. They want to, for all this stuff that does.
But we only gave $600,000 to senior services.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Right. And on the school side,
explain that.
And on the school side, they want new football fields. They want AstroTurf for all the kids to play on.
They want Teslas for kids to practice driving.
Yeah.
I mean, these things. But again, we're about to enter a part of the in this country's history where a gas of gallon will be more expensive than an hour of minimum wage.
Or a gallon of gas. Either one.
Yes. It's becoming absolutely ridiculous. And so now you're having the situation that people are getting paid hourly and their hourly does not even cover gasoline.
Right.
And that's becoming a huge problem. And in parts of California, it's definitely about to happen this summer. But instead, so then where do you think the argument's going to be?
Yeah, my mom.
But do you think the argument's going to be us trying to figure out a way to reduce the cost of gas?
My mom travels.
Us having to increase a minimum wage.
That's perfect example is my mom travels.
How's that $15 doing?
Oh my God!
No, look, this is a very real example. My mom travels from Ruskin, which is it's from Ruskin to Busch Gardens. Okay, she works part time at Busch Gardens. She is making, I think, just short of $11 an hour. Okay. So that means that literally, more than likely, she's at least wasting 1 gallon.
Is she making any money?
Right. She's the first hour is just to pay on the gas.
Just to pay gas. No, we have someone in the comment section, Devon, who moved out to Kissimmee because it was cheaper housing, but works at the airport. Is now having that's a huge commute.
Yeah.
Are you still commuting, Devon, from TSA or the Tampa or Orlando? I don't know which airport he was working at now, but that's a huge commute. And Florida is really much a state that you need a vehicle. The South, you need a vehicle.
Yeah.
And all these liberals that are thinking that we should start building trains and start building mass transit. No one is going to use mass transit in July. No one is going to use mass transit.
No, the bike lanes are ridiculous. They really are. Look, just widen them and let them use the sidewalks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just, seriously, because honestly, they're safer on the sidewalk. And at least the sidewalks are being used, because what's also not being used is the sidewalk itself. Because again, you have very few people actually walking out there in 100-degree heat. All right. Well, we'll continue to update you on gas prices again, but no relief in sight, unfortunately, as the Biden administration, again, not really making much of an effort to correct the problem there.
No effort.
Yeah. By the way, I think they called that goal back.
I know. I just saw that.
Yeah. So still 0-0 in the second period here as the Tampa Bay Lightning look to sweep the Florida Panthers.
We just need to take them out of their misery. It's over. It is over. It's just We're done.
I asked, I texted my best friend who lives, maybe like 15 minutes from where the Florida Panthers play. And I said, okay, so what federal report do I have to file to stop the Tampa Bay Lightning from killing all these Florida Panthers? Something like that.
You're so stupid.
Yeah, that's.
We're not laughing because it's funny. We're laughing because you're stupid.
I know it's cheesy. I get it.
I know. So we agree on something, Mr. Producer.
All right.
You think he's funny? That's right. You're in a relationship with him. You have to say things like that. It's fine. I don't think Jonathan is as funny as you think he is.
I'm hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about.
From what?
All right, our final topic of the night. You always talk about how clever my topics are.
Because someone has to pop you up.
Well, you're not the clever one.
Please.
All right. Actually, here, let me say it. Speaking of raising prices, I got a little Portillo's stock, so I'm going to give them a little plug there.
Oh, you're a shareholder?
I am.
What do you
And
eat?
it's so cheap right now because of food prices. Their stock is like at $18 a share.
What do you eat?
Their IPO was like a 30, I think.
What do you eat there?
I got the Italian beef sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you pay for it?
Oh gosh, way too much probably. No, it was I think the whole meal for 3 people came out to what, like almost $40.
I wish
32?
my meal today would have been $40.
Yeah.
I had Tempanos.
Wow,
Just opened.
you going to Tempanos?
Just opened. $38 for pork.
Oh, the pork's ridiculous. If you go to Brick House that has like these mega pork chop deals, it's like $24.
And I would probably have more.
And that's supposed to be like a casual restaurant.
Brick House and Plant City
On
downtown.
Dale
Mabry.
Oh, I thought you were talking the one in downtown.
Not the Bricks. No, not the Bricks.
No, but like
No,
that's
it's called Brick House and Plant City.
The one
in Plant City?
But the one off of Del Mabry is that's a good portion of a pork chop. When it came to Tempanos, it was not. We were very disappointed.
Well, but it's also a high-end restaurant.
It is, but again, I'm usually I enjoy
Where
it.
I've noticed is because I eat a ton of chicken wings, and the chicken wing prices have gotten ridiculous.
Not at Publix. Publix hasn't increased their prices yet.
At the restaurants.
Oh, yeah, that's different, yeah.
So, it's nuts. It's gotten really crazy out there.
We gotta stop talking about food. We're losing our audience.
I know. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up tonight's show with our final topic here as we bring it in for a close and continue to illuminate you with all of Biden's disasters, the baby formula being one of them, as, again, our country is now struggling. You would literally think that we have moved to, Venezuela or Cuba or something like that because it's no longer just a punchline to call him Bare Shelves Biden, when, we see that there's literally empty shelves in our supermarkets, with some of the most essential things that we need to eat, and especially our, children. And being that a lot of children depend on baby formula, we've now find ourselves in a national crisis, and we are now learning that the FDA, could have saw this coming months ago.
February.
Still, regardless, without any form of a solution, shut down this plant, which again also leads to our need for more competition in the space, but that's a whole nother conversation. And then they tried to pass through this bill, which was, again, the typical Democrat solution to everything is throw money at it and try to fix it. The money did absolutely nothing to actually fix the crisis. But now, magically, planes are showing up all over the country with pallets full of baby formula.
Yeah, so this all happened in November. In November, the nutritionist company, which controls 48% of the formula market in the United States, voluntarily recalled some of its most popular brands. After 4 babies were hospitalized with bacterial infections, at least 2 of those at least 2 of those babies died, sadly. Although the company said this month there was no evidence its formula caused any known infection from illness of the children. So there's a huge article talking about how there are now big military planes delivering baby formula out of Europe, from Europe to the United States, and it's absolutely funny. So 500,000 8-ounce bottles of baby formula has been delivered to the United States.
And that's the most ridiculous thing is that they were saying that, that part of the holdup was the fact that the FDA had to sign off on, the import of this baby formula coming in from Europe, as if their food standards weren't equal or better than ours.
They are much better than ours. And I will also say the reason, what we're talking about are the formulas for allergic that have the allergic reactions to normal formula.
Yeah.
That's what we're having.
There is so much of our food that we consume here in the United States that is practically illegal in Europe.
The sugar content alone kicks us out of
Mountain Dew
Europe.
in some countries is actually illegal.
Well,
they did not sell it.
Have you drank Mountain Dew lately?
Yeah, all the time. I do. When I go to Hooters, that's my drink.
Okay. Let's not.
What? I know it's terrible.
Anyways, Nestle, which produces 2 of the formula brands that were part of the shipments, said that because they were designed for children with allergies, they would be available through hospitals, home care companies, and small quantities of portion online availability. So again, I think it's not the general population of baby formula that we're running out of. It is the specialized allergenic. I'm not saying that correctly whatsoever.
Allergenic.
Yeah. So that's what we're having problems with.
Yeah.
So those children that were probably going to be struggling in the rest of their lives because they can't have gluten.
Well, and there's a lot of, again, kids that, now, for whatever reason, can't have milk and then even baby formula, it's like got to be like a certain kind and that sort of thing, and we went through it with my daughter and, we had to change because she her body agreed with certain kinds and didn't agree with certain kinds. I get all that, but again, this administration can't seem to, to actually solve any kind of problem.
Oh, no.
Well, the next, and just a guy that's been around the food industry for a few years, the next thing you're going to see, how this can happen again here, there's going to be a shortage of distilled water and glucose.
Oh, wow.
Now, when you put those 2 together, that
soda
is... Not only that, but a lot of your IVs have what in them?
Yeah.
Distilled water.
And
glucose.
Yep.
And honestly,
for rehydration.
I mean, honestly, imagine, I think if for a minute, I think if we did have Trump for a second term, because one of the major key foundational components of his administration and his campaign was to bring a lot of this manufacturing back to the United States.
Self-sufficient, yes.
And now look, I'll call it out for what it is. I'm a capitalist at the end of the day. But again, there has to be a balance to everything.
And I'm not going to.
And when you have a multinational global conglomerate like Nestle, okay, that again, we should not have a baby formula shortage because you shut down one plant,
but also
in the middle of Texas.
And so people are going to ask, what could the administration have done in February that would have not caused this issue to happen now? Well, I don't think the government has control of how many formula bottles are being created. I do know that when you see something coming down the road, you get on that bully pulpit and you start yelling at people, letting them know, look, you need to fix this problem now before it becomes an issue. And who has that power? The White House has that power to be able to figure that out and yell at people. Because we've known about this coming down the pike.
Right.
We've been hearing about this for months now.
They ignored it for months.
That plant, granted, they did a self-recall, which happens a lot in the food industry, especially in the meat side of it. But after the recall and they did the testing, yes, they did find bacteria in the plant, but at no time was the bacteria ever, or the formula itself, ever exposed to the bacteria. They knew that long ago.
Well, that's why they continued to let them operate. as long as they did.
But they closed the plant. But they haven't reopened it.
Right. But again, that's the thing. It's the problem is they kept letting them kick the can down the road, and then they went and shut them down without having a backup plan to this whole thing. And again, this is why we need to continue to push for competition, in every space. I mean, again, thankfully, you've got companies that are stepping up, when it comes to, making microchips.
So another example.
When you got, again, I think what America needs to do to survive the next 100 years is to bring back all types of manufacturing to the country to where we are self-sufficient.
Which is starting to happen.
But oh my God, be careful! You might be called a national.
Oh yeah,
you might. That might be a little nationalistic,
right?
But it's just another example. The Biden
because all this stuff's only going to get worse.
The Biden administration saw this problem coming with the baby formula. They saw it with the baby. So is this just another example of the Biden administration? The left just don't like babies.
Right.
Well, we've always known that.
Well, and then the part that ticks me off the worst was that they went and passed not only a bill, this FDA bill that was supposed to help resolve this crisis, which it did nothing for it. And then they went and tried to pass the gas price gouging bill, which again, most states already have regulations against price gouging, really to just create fodder for the midterm elections.
But you're doing nothing. You're doing
no, and people saw it for what it was.
So again, in another step to address the actual shortage, the FDA announced this last week that it would relax some of its regulations to encourage new suppliers to provide the formula. The United States normally produces about 98% of the formula it consumes, with imports coming primarily from Mexico, Ireland, and the Netherlands. Again, this is a problem that could have been resolved months ago when you realized this was happening. And we're going to see this. We knew that this was going to happen with multiple items and consumer goods that are flowing through the system. Some of them are literally this administration's made problems when it comes to gasoline and other forms of energy, and then these are self-imposed damages when it comes to when it came to chicken wings, and when it comes to other staple products that Americans are used to, and they're not used to not having it on the shelves, and that
this goes back
Americans off.
This goes back also to the big question mark that again, most people like to chalk it up as a conspiracy theory, but again, why is Bill Gates going around the country buying up farmland? And again, so far he seems to be batting 1,000 when it comes to, viruses getting out, and how all that's being handled, and so the fact that he's going out there and buying up all this farmland, and look, it's no secret there's going to be a lot of shortages. There's going to be water shortages. There's going to be food shortages. I mean, we're seeing it already. And so we need to become self-sufficient as a country. It used to be, all this started because, we were, powerful, and we had all the resources and everything, and it was a way to help build up other countries. But I think we're past that.
That's very simplified in the conversation.
Of course it is.
The point of globalization was for us to be able to fight back communism. That's what globalization was for. We used our money to buy
which
off
accomplished
other countries.
Nothing.
It did accomplish. It accomplished the fall of the Soviet Union. What are you talking about? It accomplished nothing.
And where are we with the Soviet Union?
There is no Soviet Union, Jonathan.
Okay, but what is Russia if not a communist country?
Now it's a paper tiger because Ukraine is kicking their asses.
Okay, but it's still.
Sorry, there's a
what good did it do to again open trade relations with China in the Nixon administration?
We're not talking about what Nixon did.
But look at the way it's affecting us now. You've created this communist powerhouse.
What is it affecting?
What do you mean? What is it affecting?
What is China?
Everything.
What is China doing to affect your life at the moment?
All the microchip shortages, the increase in
China's problem.
It's America's problem.
It's America's problem because we rely on Taiwan,
but also on food. A lot of the food, the shortages that were happening are because of what's happening with
not because of China.
We're slow to react, though. Like for instance, right now, China is buying up hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland in the United States
and companies.
Right now. And companies. So let's say they do this.
So did Japan in the 80s.
But follow me. Japan was still more dependent on us than China.
China is more dependent on us.
They're dependent on selling us product. But here's my But follow me, Anibal. If they take up this farmland and just say, we're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to let it sit.
Right.
What happens to the crops? What happens to the usage of that farmland? You now become even more dependent on outside sources. So to say they're not a threat,
They're not a threat.
I think that is absolutely naive.
They're not a threat, and the reason
They are a critical part of the supply chain shortages. The reason why I'm
even more
globally.
Yes, because half of their country is now in lockdown because of their ridiculous COVID situation.
Okay, so how is that not affecting us?
Because what we needed to do, and what Trump did, started the ball rolling, was globalizing the United States. And what does that mean? We needed to decouple from China. This is something, and many companies
right,
saw
but
this.
We're not.
Many,
and that's how it's affecting
Many
us.
companies saw this coming down the pike and already started to move their manufacturing outside of China. Out of I think it was like the China Chamber of Commerce, I think there's about 30,000, 40,000 companies. Half of them have already moved their industrial base out of China. But it takes time. It takes time for this stuff to
But it is affecting us.
But it takes time. We are
you
moving in the
have
right
car
direction.
manufacturers that literally can't build cars because the microchips that they get from China won't get here.
Because we had a time situation where we were not needing any microchips, and then the economy came back, and now everyone wanted a car last year, and that caused a shortage. We're having
That
the
and
ripple
COVID.
That's having a ripple effect when it comes to the supply chain.
But it is affecting us.
But it's not China the reason why. It's because of
China.
No, it's because of supply and demand.
But the reason we have a problem here in this country with, you say it takes time, the fact of the matter is it doesn't take so much time. What takes time is the red tape and the restrictions that our government puts up. For instance, when I'm running a hamburger manufacturing plant, just to get a label approved by the FDA took 6 to 8 months. Why?
Is that China's problem, or is that the United States government's problem? That's the United States government's problem. The government is becoming so overbearing.
You're missing what he's saying, though.
Yeah, but
you're missing what he's saying. Because of our restrictions and regulations, it takes so long domestically to get it done, which it shouldn't. We have become dependent on outside sources.
Scott's point is that it's easier to bring in stuff from other countries than it is to make it here in our own country. And he's absolutely true.
I don't disagree with that.
Just like the adoption process.
I don't disagree with that point.
You're better off going to some third world country to get a kid than it is to adopt one here in the United States.
I don't disagree. I have friends that just adopted a child. It took them 9 months. And that was a short term.
That's not true.
That was very short term for them to get the kid. It took them 9 months.
What's not true?
He doesn't have friends. That's not true.
Anyways, at the end of the day, I don't think Russia in its current form will be here in the next year, nor do I think China will be the same country as by the end of the decade.
Wait.
Scott, I don't know about you, Scott, but I did not have Anibal defending communism on my
I'm not
list
defending
here.
communism. I'm saying that their communist systems will fall apart inside the decade. I'm not supporting communism.
Okay, your middle name stands for
because they haven't been communist for the last 50, 60 years.
What I'm saying is that their
but the next 10 years, something's going to change?
Yes, their demographics will fall apart. Their economy will fall apart. And the fact that they won't even be able to deal with the military issues will fall apart. They will literally fall apart the same way.
They'll just have a weak military. That's all.
What happens to a communist country when it has a weak military?
They invade Ukraine.
Look at Venezuela. They have a weak military. They have virtually no military.
No, you know why? You know where all the money goes to when it comes to the security of Venezuela is internally. Their internal security is what they care about.
Okay, but again, they're not externally powerful, and so they're
that shows them the weakness. But they have China and Russia that are trying to show exterior force.
Yes,
and they cannot do that anymore.
But Venezuela is going to continue to be a communist country, even though they have no external superiority.
I agree, and I'm okay with what Venezuela wants to do.
You're saying that a country without a strong military won't survive.
A communist country that is trying to be an external force will not survive with the weight that it's building upon itself. It happened with the USSR, it will happen with China, and it will happen with Russia.
I don't see that happening.
Okay.
They won't be a military force, but that doesn't mean that their communist ways are just going to disappear.
Okay.
They're not all of a sudden going to become a democracy and just give up. I guess
Russia tried to be a democracy and then it rearmed itself.
Guys, we left more military forces and military countries can happen overnight. We left more military goods at Bagram Air Force Base than most countries have.
Right. Yeah.
So,
But again, to his point, that just because you have a strong military or a weak military dictates whether or not you have communism. Doesn't hold any kind of water.
I did not say that.
You did say that.
I did not. That was not the verbiage that I used. What I'm saying is we're seeing the examples of Russia and China right now trying to show force externally.
Look at how weak North Korea is in every sense of the word, and they and their communist ways seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah, their nuclear program has nothing to do with the fact that
the nuclear program's a joke.
They still have it.
And do what with it? What are they going to do? Blow themselves up?
They make
because they can't even get a missile outside of their own territory.
They don't need to get out of their territory. They just need to hit Seoul. That's all that matters when it comes to North Korea.
All right. Regardless, communism not going away anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
The governments of China and Russia will go away soon.
All right. Well, we'll someone footnote that,
please.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm okay with that.
9:08 on.
Is this in our
May
lifetime?
23rd?
Yes, completely what's inside this decade. China will not be the same way.
Nope. All right. Xi Jinping is going to be a dictator until he dies.
Yeah, we'll see how soon that happens.
Anyways, on that note, everybody, on that joyous note, and
monkeypox.
The only thing pissing me off more than Anibal right now is the fact that there have been 2 goals called back on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The referees obviously trying to make this into a 7-game series. They're still in the second period. They're at the end of the second period.
Be the advertisers.
That would be the advertisers.
That's the advertisers.
Won in Game 5.
Yeah,
they won Game 5.
No kidding. All right. So
we all agreed on that one.
Yeah.
No result yet, but go Lightning. And my prediction is we will have a 3rd in dynastical Stanley Cup here in Tampa Bay.
Good words.
So I'm getting ready for
that. Was
you like that?
Good. That was excellent.
I'm very happy.
I'll pull that one up for Scrabble next time.
Very proud.
That was excellent. That would be a double word score.
I think so.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. It's good. It's good.
You just say that because I like saying that.
I say that all the time.
Don't. Oh,
yes,
my God.
I do.
Anyways, before I shut off this microphone, that was Anibal David Cabrera.
A therapy
Scott
session.
Levinson, please visit votescottlevinson.com. Donate, as he's in the race for Hillsborough County Commission District 1. And no, the one more thing is the game isn't over yet, and I want to go watch the 3rd period. So on that note, thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here next Monday night, 7 o'clock on your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to the audio version of our podcast, wherever podcasts are sold. The tech overlords at Google, Apple, Spotify, Audible, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, and Samsung podcast platforms. On that note, thank you so much to everybody listening, watching, whenever, wherever you may be doing so. Good night from Tampa.